G'day, it's Brak here, and today's video is the second video where we explore which clan is the best. Yes, I'm reading here. And okay, so last episode we looked at clan cultures. In future episodes we'll be looking at clan-specific stratagems in episode 3, clan-specific shiny gubbins in episode 4, and in episode 5 we will open the Psychic Awakening book to discuss clan-specific psychic abilities. In this episode we're going to be looking at Warlord traits, and it's coming up very, very soon. Before we start, let's recap from episode 1, where we discovered that Deathskulls have the best clan culture when you compare the clan cultures listed on page 125 of the Ork Codex to the 4 following criteria. Who does it benefit? How often can it be used? Does the rule fit with the clan lore? And how cool is it? So we can see from this nifty graph that all 7 clans did quite well, and there isn't much between them. However, the Deathskulls did manage to pull out a perfect score. But what happens when we compare clan-specific warlord traits to the same criteria? Will there be any changes? Will this graph change? Will another clan become the leader? Well, we are getting ahead of ourselves here. All will be revealed in due time. In this episode, I will look at clan-specific warlord traits, which you can find on page 133 of the Ork Codex. As mentioned above, I will be assessing this aspect of warlord traits to the following criteria, which are: 1. Who does it benefit? So, does this aspect occur clan-wide, or does it only benefit one model? 2. How often can it be used? Can this aspect or rule be used for the entire game, or can it be only used situationally? 3. Does the aspect fit the clan culture? So what I'm looking for here is, does this rule actually make any sense in regards to the individual clan according to the lore or the fluff? Do you look at this rule and say, yep, that's so Deathskulls, or so Bad Moons, or so Freebooter, etc. And criteria 4, how cool is it? Yep, as always, the rule of cool is always supreme. I will be giving each clan a score out of 5 for each of the criteria, so a score of 20 is the best you can get. I'll be looking at each clan, discussing what the clan culture gives the clan and scoring it based on the 4 criteria I mentioned earlier. Goths, proper killie. Goth bosses are the most brutal of an already brutal breed. They are unstoppable engines of destruction who rampage through their enemy ranks and leave mounds of crushed and brutalized corpses in their wake. The rule: add 1 to your warlord's attack characteristics. Okay, so the warlord gets 1 extra attack. You can't sneeze at that. Criteria 1, who does it benefit? Well, obviously only the warlord. Look, I know these are warlord traits and you expect that, so I'm not going to come down too heavily for having a rule which only benefits one model, but I will be giving out extra points for rules which help other models. So for this reason, I give this warlord trait a score out of 4 out of 5. Criteria 2, how often can it be used? Well, obviously it's only really useful in both fight phases. So for this reason, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Criteria 3. Does it fit with the clan lore? Yes. Goths are the brawlers, the berserkers, the one who love a good round of fisticuffs. So it is kind of goes without saying that the boss of the Goths would be a better fighter. Therefore, I'm giving this proper killy trait a 5 out of 5. Criteria 4. How cool is it? As per my reasons above, in criteria 3, how good is an extra attack when you need it the most, when your boss is in a scrap? So it's another 5 out of 5, giving the dead killy war trait a total score of 17 out of 20. Bad Moons. The best armour Thief can buy. Bad Moon leaders spare no expense on their gear, and their armour is no exception. In the process of adorning themselves in the biggest, most gilded and ostentatious suits of plate they can get, they often end up inadvertently providing themselves with substantial protection against the foe. The rule: your warlord has a 4-up invul save. This rule is consistent with the notion of bad moons being flushed with teeth, and therefore the richest clan. The warlord, who should be the richest in the clan, will have the best armour. Criteria 1. Who does it benefit? Well, obviously only the warlord, so it's a 4 out of 5 for this warlord trait. Criteria 2. How often can it be used? Well, anytime the warlord has to take an armour save. Invul saves for orcs are quite rare. There are only a few instances where you can take them, unless you're a Deathskulls or a cheeky Zogger. So this is quite a handy rule to have. So for this reason, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 for this trait. Criteria 3. Does it fit with the clan lore? Heck yeah, you'd expect the boss of the Yellow Gits to have the armour. The best armour. Most orc invul saves are 5-ups or 6-ups. Until recently, there was only one way you can get a 4-up invul save, and that was by being a bad moon. So it's just like the bad moons to have to get their hands on rare items. So it's a 5 out of 5 from me. Criteria 4. Is it cool? So very cool. Especially when you consider the new Psychic Awakening stratagem, which allows all clans to have a war boss get a 4-up invul save. But as a bad moon, you can work your list to have 2 models with this ability, and so that way you can be able to slow down some of the more killy firepower. That's really, really cool. So I'm giving this one a 5 out of 5, thus making the total for the bad moons 18 out of 20. Evil Sons, Speed Freak. The thrill-seeking greenskins at the head of the Evil Sun warbands will lead their cult of speed brethren in a multiple high-velocity passes, bellowing with glee each time they hurtle at and then straight through the enemy lines. The rule: your warlord and all friendly Evil Sun units within 6 inches of them can charge, even if they fell back earlier in the turn. So your bike or bikes can charge if they fell back when your warlord is close by. Oh, I do like that. Criteria 1. Who does it benefit? Well, only a unit which has fallen back, but it can apply to any unit, not just one model. So it's a 5 out of 5 for this criteria. Criteria 2. How often can it be used? Well, all units can benefit from this rule. However, they must have the following conditions. 1. They have had to have fallen back, and 2. have a Warlord close by. It's fairly situational, but a good general should be able to work this to their advantage, so it's a 3.9 out of 5 for this Warlord trait. Criteria 3. Does it fit in with the clan lore? Well, the speed freaks are the masters of drive-by crumpin', so it's a 5 out of 5 for this criteria from me. Criteria 4. Is it cool? Oh yeah. To be able to fall back and then get your mates to soften up the target and then rush in for another go. So very cool. That's another 5 out of 5, which makes the Evil Sons a total score of 18.9 out of 20. Deathskulls, Opportunist. This warlord is always on the lookout for gubbins to scavenge, and is wily enough to know that the best loot can be bashed, blasted, and ripped from the mangled remains of the enemy's biggest weapons and bosses. The rule: reroll wound rolls of 1 for attacks made by your warlord that target an enemy vehicle units. In addition, in the shooting phase, this warlord can target enemy character units within 18 inches, even if they are not the closest enemy unit. Okay, so the boss of the looting clan is always looking for an opportunity to kill something big, so they can get the battle over with and do some proper looting. Criteria 1. Who does it benefit? Well, only the warlord, so it's a 4 out of 5 for me. Criteria 2. How often can it be used? Well, it's only in the shooting phase. Oh, and Overwatch. But this rule does allow you to do 2 different things, i.e. target a vehicle or a character if it's close. So there's a little bit of flexibility here. So for this reason, I'm giving it a 3.8 out of 5. Criteria 3. Does the rule fit with the clan lore? Well, the battle is only half the reason why the Deathskulls go to war. The other reason, and probably a big reason, is the loot. And as said before, the boss is always looking for an opportunity to get the battle over quickly. So it's a 5 out of 5 for this warlord trait. Criteria 4. Is it cool? Well, being able to snipe a character if it gets too close is fantastic, and also it's a big surprise to your opponent because they forgot orcs can shoot. And yeah, so it's another 5 out of 5 for this one, which give Deathskulls a score out of 17.8 out of 20 for this warlord trait. Snakebites, surly as a squiggle. Infamously foul-tempered, entirely lacking in any kind of sense of humour, and with an evil eye and a bodily stench that could drop a knob at 30 paces, this snakebite is the terror of his underlings, and few prospects are more terrifying than failing him in battle. The rule: you can re-roll morale tests for friendly snakebite units while they are within 6 inches of your warlord. In addition, friendly snakebite Gretchen units automatically pass morale tests while they are within 12 inches of your warlord. Okay, so because your war boss is a surly, cantankerous bastard, his boys would rather die from a scrap than actually have words from the boss. Okay, I'll pay it. Criteria 1. Who benefits from? Everyone. However, this is even good for Gretchen. Gretchen do really, really well out of this. I would love to give this a 6 out of 5, but that's against the rules, so it's a 5 out of 5 for me. Criteria 2. How often can it be used? Well, only when you have to take a morale. So that's a morale test. How often are they? So 4 out of 5 for me, because there are other warlord traits out there which can be used more often. So yeah, a 4 out of 5 for this one. Criteria 3, does it fit with the clan rule? Yes, the Snakebites are the boomers of the Ork Klans. They're stuck in their ways and they're always banging on about how good it was back in the day. So because of this, I give them a 5 out of 5. Criteria 4, is it cool? Oh my god, Fearless Grots. This can be a game changer. Imagine stealing an objective with just 1 or 2 grots. Snakebite grots can stand fast, whereas any other clan will see their grots running. This is another 5 out of 5 for me. This gives Snakebites a whopping 19 out of 20 for this great, fantastic warlord trait. Bloodaxes. I've got a plan, lads. Bloodaxe bosses are never short of a cunning plan featuring actual tactics and sometimes even a grasp of grand strategy that goes beyond simply kicking the enemy's teeth down their throats. The rule: if your warlord is on the battlefield, roll a dice for each command point you spend when using stratagems. On a 6+, that command point is immediately refunded. The boss of the sneaky gits may have another trick up his sleeve. What's not to love about that? Criteria 1, who does this benefit? Well, the whole army. Being able to get command points back can give the Bloodaxes that extra bow in their quiver, so it's a 5 out of 5 from me. Criteria 2, how often can it be used? Well, anytime you spend a command point. Pretty powerful stuff. Another 5 out of 5 for this warlord trait. Criteria 3, does this rule fit with the clan? Most certainly yes. The Bloodaxes are the master of tactics. The warlord should always have a trick up his sleeve, and if something goes well, he's going to take advantage. So it's 5 out of 5 for me. Criteria 4, is it cool? Oh yeah. Command points are as valuable as a bad moon's gob. So that's another 5 out of 5 for this warlord trait. So the Blood Moons get a perfect score out of 20 out of 20 for me. For this most excellent of warlord traits. Freebooters, killer reputation. The freebooter leader has a fearsome and well-deserved reputation for being a stone-cold killer. It is enough to make even the fractious and self-serving freebooters fight harder beneath his glowering gaze. The rule: reroll hits of 1 for attacks made by friendly freebooters in the fight phase if they are within 6 inches of your warlord. As a freebooter, if you're close to the boss, you're going to show off a bit more because, hey, that's what freebooters do. Criteria 1, who does it benefit? Well, any unit close to the warlord, so it's 5 out of 5. Criteria 2, how often can it be used? Well, it's only during both fighting phases, so that's a 4 out of 5 for me. Criteria 3, does it fit with the clan rule? Sorta, kinda. When you get around the fact that freebooters are individuals that thrive on competition, this does work. I want to give this a 5 out of 5, but I do feel that the competition angle is a lazy idea from GW. You can hear my thoughts on this during episode 1. So for this reason, I can only give them a 4.9 out of 5. Criteria 4, is it cool? Sort of meh. Look, I'm still hung up about the GW laziness, but once you get over that, it is a great rule. So it's a 5 out of 5 from me. And this gives the freebooters a total score of 18.9 out of 20 for this Warlord trait. Okay, let's have a look at the score for Warlord traits. We've got Goths coming in last this time with 17 points. Then, sadly and surprisingly, Deathskulls with a 17.8, the second lowest score. And they're trailing the Bad Moons in 5th place with 18 points. In 3rd place we see a tie with the Evil Sons and the Freebooters with 18.9 points out of 20. Narrowly missing the Snakebites with a score of 19. But they were outsmarted by the cleverest clan of them all, giving a perfect score 20 out of 20 to the Bloodaxes. Okay, let's add the tally from episode 1 to episode 2 and let's see what the running total is so far. Alright, we have Goths coming in last with 34.7 out of 40. Then we have the Freebooters with 35.6 points. We have the Bad Moons in 5th place with 35.9 points. In 4th place, down from the number 1 position, is, I'm sad to say, the Deathskulls with 37.8 points. And they were just pipped at the post by the Bloodaxes with 37.9 points. They're in 3rd place there. Now, this gives us a tie at 1st place for both the Evil Sons and the Snakebites, each getting 38.8 out of 40. Well, isn't that a turn for the books? Okay, well there you have it. The Deathskulls sadly aren't in 1st place anymore. So what do you think? Are you going to agree, or are you going to claim biased reporting and fake news? Please leave all comments below. But folks, please be civil. Next time I will discuss clan specific stratagems. So until then, if you're going crumpin', remember to bash early and bash often. If you like this video, please like, or you could share it, or subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And if you do subscribe, press that notification bell so you get to see these videos as soon as I release them. Also, would you like to be social with Brak? Well then, you can go to his Facebook page, his Instagram account, and he has a Twitter account too. There will be links below in the description. If you would like to help Brak financially, then head over to his Patreon page and make a little subscription there, and that way I will be able to make these videos a little bit better.